I have made a mistake, and here we are talking about that. So let's hit it up. Alright, about 2 weeks ago, I made a video on AEM Holdings, which is a company that based in Singapore and operating in the semiconductor industry. I made my initial investment into this company in January or February, about there. And obviously, I just looked at the financials. I looked at the annual reportings and all those things, and then I formed up my opinion, and I just invested my money into it. I saw that was a area of growth. They had amazing performance last year and the year before and the year before that as well. So it seemed like something that would be a good company to invest in. Everything was working. I mean, if you look at the snapshot of the previous 3 or 4 years, everything is just amazing, and you would hope that that would continue. However, I didn't do in-depth research, and that's me, right? I always invest in the company by looking at the overall things and which industries they are working in and all those things, and I just invest the money. I don't have that much patience or discipline to go and research properly on that company before I invest. It's more like I have my skin in the game, and then I kind of like I'm forced to do my research, and that's something that happened with this company as well. And only when I wanted to make a video on it or make the company analysis video, when I formed up, like I really deep dived into it. And that's why I have this channel as well. I'm not talking about topics that are very very popular and would get me subscribers. I'm talking about what are the companies I'm investing in, and AEM is not a company that I think is very very popular or something that really brings me subscribers. But why I'm doing this is because I'm forced to like learn about the company. I'm forced to really really understand the company to the very bottom, and it has paid off. Like, this is the first time where I have found my own mistake. Like, I shouldn't have actually invested into this company. If you see my that company analysis video, even though I keep it very objective, I say about the risk, and I also talk about my investment thesis into it. And in the end, I slightly mentioned that, oh, okay, it might not be the best company out there to invest in. And after doing that analysis, right, I understood that it is only okay for me to invest my CPF money into this company. I shouldn't be investing my cash, and my cash has better opportunity somewhere else. However, after giving it 1 week of thought, like, after processing everything, all the information that I garnered over there, and forming up a solid opinion of myself, I think it's not a company that I should be invested in at all. Like, I think I made a mistake in investing into it. So the reason I think so is because, firstly, let's start with the basic. They have their 97% revenue generating from one business segment, which is the equipment system solution segment. I can't recall properly, but along that line. And they don't describe it properly, I would say. I'm an engineer myself, and I don't think I completely understand this business segment, which represents the bulk of the business. Actually, all of its business, 96% is a lot. And they don't do a good job explaining what this business is about in simple words. Like, you're making annual reports for people in the financial industry, not for engineers or semiconductor experts, right? So they should do a better job at explaining that business segment. I read the reports from like past 10 years, like all the reports that they have available online from 2011 to 2020. So yeah, I read everything, and they mentioned the same lines about the business description under this business segment, and then they add a few more things on top of that. They waste one whole page, but they don't properly, in simple word, describe what they are actually doing. There's so many technical jargons and all those things. And from what I understand as an engineer, I might be wrong, But to my understanding, after I decipher the words they have put down there, to me it looks like they are providing some equipment which like just a customized solution of machine that maybe carries certain products from one place to another at a high speed, precise motion, and they have their graphic interface with the user, and that they just design this, and it doesn't relate back to the testing part of the business. Their main business description is that they are providing testing solutions, right? Whereas the equipment system solution, which represents 96% of their revenue in 2020, I don't think it relates back to testing. I don't know. In their business description of this particular segment, they don't particularly tie it down to testing. It's just an overall equipment which just does the job whatever like the company wants them to do. So yeah, like I mean, they will just customize it to high speed. They mentioned high speed motion and all those things, right? So yeah, it doesn't tie back to testing, and I don't know why they can't really explain it well in the annual report. You can use 3 pages if you want. You want to use 10 pages, you do it, as long as it's clear, at least somewhere in like along the line, at least in one annual report, maybe going past down 10 years or something. But no, they didn't, and it's kind of bothering me so much. Like, I need to understand, it's your base, like your core business. I need to understand what is it all about to the very bottom, but I can't do that. Then secondly, we go about all the other things that they talk about in their annual report, like all the management and all. They talk so much about the 5G, autonomous driving, cloud computing, but in the end their business really doesn't represent that. So like SLT, right, which they talk about a lot, like the system level testing, which they emphasize that is for this particular industries, the industry that use high density chips, the industry that I just mentioned, but it only represents what, one point something percent of their business. So why are you wasting the entire annual report on a business that just represents 1 point something percent of your business? I understand going forward it would be some area of growth, but even if you grow 10 times, it's not going to become a significant part of your business, right? So you should like focus on what your core business is, explain it well before you dive into all this future aspect. And it feels like they are just selling something that they are not at the moment, and they're selling the future, which might not be the outcome, right? They can't predict the future. So that's the thing. And also, like, they talk about 5G autonomous driving, right? They have links with Huawei, but they don't explain that properly. They don't talk about the customers. Obviously, I mean, that could be because of confidentiality, but whatever the reason is, they don't talk about it. Intel is failing in the in cloud. For cloud computing, the chips that you need is in the data centers, right? So Intel is failing in the data center industry. Like, they don't have any ARM-based chips, which is where the industry is moving towards. So Intel is failing there, and they are pitching that AEM is a good company going to support this industry, which is not the fact, right? And then you go into 5G, and I don't know how much how big of a partnership they have with Huawei, but it doesn't represent anything, right? They clearly mention Intel is like supporting 90% of their business, which is significant. And rest 10%, if the entire 10% is coming from Huawei, then it would make some sense, but it's still not great, right? Autonomous driving, I don't see anything that autonomous driving, the big players are, and the biggest player I would say is Nvidia, right, for the chip industry. So Nvidia, again, they're working with TSMC. They're not, I don't know who TMC buys their testing equipment from, but it's not AEM, that's for sure. The third point that is bothering me is that they talk a lot about how they would be able to achieve, like, get more customers with them, and how easy it would be for them because they are already working with Intel, and they have this credibility now after working with Intel to get more customers. But the fact is that they have been working with Intel for more than 10 years, and that's where they build the relation. in the semiconductor industry, relationships doesn't build like that. You can't just get a customer or win a customer over just because you have slightly better product or slightly cheaper product. You have to be extremely well, and it should be a long-term relationship for you to establish yourself within that company. TMC as a semiconductor manufacturer is a is a winner because it has spent last 3 decades building relationship with the top companies that design chips: Nvidia, Apple, Qualcomm, Google, and many more. They have established themselves because they have relationships with such a good companies, and that is the core to their success. Whereas AEM, by them saying that it's just easy because they have Intel for them to like get more customers, that's not gonna work. It's gonna take decades to get that kind of relationship working, and there's no way to prove that their products that they're providing are actually that much better than from the competitors. They don't even mention that in their annual report. So I personally don't know how to compare. It could be something lacking with me, lack of knowledge with me, to not being able to understand the equipment itself. But then again, if I'm lacking, if I don't completely understand the company, then I shouldn't be investing into it. So yeah, these are the few main points that I had me bothering with my investment into AEM. So yeah, and I believe that if these are the things that I can see, there would be many other things that I can't see. So there's always this unknown risk, right? Whereas with this company, I now have a known risk as well. Generally, you will see that if I'm doing a company analysis, I usually don't have any risk, because I don't see any particular big risk with that particular company. So there's no point of mentioning. Yeah, there would be some obvious risk and all those related to other things, which I don't find as something that bothers me. But with this company, I know 3 top risks that is bothering me, and there could be some other risks that are unknown. So it doesn't really justify me investing into this company. And I admit that I made a mistake. For me to sell out of a company, I have 4 basic reasons, and the number 1 reason is that I made a mistake while doing analysis of the company, understanding the company, or in the entire process of investing, I made a mistake somewhere. So I have to admit it, and I have to move on from there by pulling myself out. So right now I have about, I think, 1,800, 1,000. I have 2,800 shares of AEM, which is over, like, I think worth more than $10,000. So what I'm planning to do right now is that I will slowly try to divest out of this company. It is slightly under my average cost, and yeah, so slowly as it moves up over that average cost, my average price, I will just start divesting out of this company. Yeah, I just wanted to make this very clear. I know this AEM company, not many people view this video. It's just for like those Singaporean subscribers I have. But I wanted to like just give my closing thoughts on this company. And I think this is the last time I will be talking about AEM, since I will start divesting out. I've actually already put in my orders for it at certain prices. So other than that, I'm actually reflecting on my entire strategy at the moment, and I'm trying to make slight tweaks here and there. Not big changes, but slight, just a very minimum things. So just I have a much more robust portfolio. I will be sharing it out in the near future. I'm still trying to figure out the details of the entire strategy. So I will try to pull out another video for that. Until that, ciao.